For most of human history, societies have been built on a simple premise: climb upward, secure your position, dominate your rivals, and gather as much status and recognition as possible. This makes the Apostle Paul a historical outlier. He was an aging, weathered man sitting in a dark Roman cell, stripped of his freedom and resting at the bottom of the social ladder. While facing potential execution, he sat down by candlelight and wrote a letter to his friends that describes an unshakable sense of peace and joy. In this letter, he rejects the Roman model of power entirely, commanding these early Christians to do absolutely nothing out of selfish ambition. This creates a difficult question. If the drive for status is forbidden, how do we find the very things that climbing is supposed to provide? Paul answers by pointing to Jesus Christ, starting the story at the highest conceivable position, a state of absolute, pre-existent cosmic glory. This narrative tracks the sequence of events that follow, illustrating a profound downward journey from the highest point to the lowest. The story begins here, at the highest peak, before Jesus initiates a process Paul calls kenosis, a Greek term for self-emptying. He chooses not to cling to his supreme status. He abandons a cosmic throne to be born as a helpless human infant. From there, he rejects the cultural status of a master, choosing to kneel and wash the dusty feet of his own disciples. The descent reaches its absolute floor through radical obedience, ending in physical suffering and execution as a condemned criminal. From cosmic king to human to servant to executed criminal, the text emphasizes the velocity of this downward mobility. According to Paul, power is not measured by how high you can climb, but by how far down you are willing to step for the sake of others. But the narrative does not end at the bottom. The darkness of the execution breaks open to reveal an empty tomb at sunrise. Continuing the journey, we see the reaction to this sacrifice. The text presents a direct causal link. Because of this total, voluntary descent, God initiates a sharp, upward trajectory. The humiliation of the cross is answered by Christ being elevated to the highest possible place above all creation, completing this upward path. The response to this exaltation is described as universal, with angels, nations, and every living tongue joyfully recognizing this authority. In the logic of this text, the depth of the sacrifice directly determines the height of the exaltation. This cosmic concept was immediately applied to the grounded, dusty streets of ancient communities, where early believers began replicating this pattern in their daily lives. Timothy embraced this downward mobility through quiet, unpraised service, spending his time comforting widows and helping children. Epaphroditus traveled long, dangerous roads and risked his own health purely to deliver supplies and serve his community. Paul presents this downward movement as the standard for any life seeking the same joy Christ found. The sociological effect of this humility was significant. Bitter enemies forgave each other, neighbors shared resources, and thriving communities emerged that subverted the Roman pursuit of dominance. These individual acts of service ignite and connect, turning ordinary people into what Paul described as lights in dark places. True joy and eternal glory emerge when the climb for status is traded for the same sacrificial love Christ showed the world.